Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone. My name is DirtenDK, and tonight I will be, well, a little bit sad, I guess, to be bringing you the final round of the TSR M3 WTC. It's been such a pleasure racing this series and doing this series also here on the channel that for me personally, and I think I can speak on the behalf of the smooth Traels666 who unfortunately couldn't be with me here today. And hello to T5 as well. I think I can say that it's been so much fun that it is with a little tear in my heart that we're saying goodbye to this series for now. Let us hope, pray for TSR to get their minds right and to have a second season at some point. It doesn't have to be anytime soon, but it's been so much fun. I know you guys, I know you know what you're doing, so yeah, we'll probably figure something out at some point. Anyways, let's find the replay. Nice photo, courtesy here of Mr. vrsSTIG. And today is a little bit special in the sense that we are gonna be racing two different layouts of the Nürburgring. That hasn't been the case with any of the other rounds of this series, so it'll be interesting to see how the drivers will be able to adapt from doing a sprint race around the regular GP layout and then moving on to the much more demanding green hell that is the 24-hour circuit. And you are completely right on that one though, Stig. We are going to be bringing you the second season of the very interesting. The first season was indeed very interesting, and of course we're going to be bringing you the second season of the Super GT, the multi-class Super GT Championship by TSR Motorsport, also series organizer of this series. And we are looking very much forward to it. I will be doing it racing-wise. Traels, I think he doesn't really have the time because he has a life, which I don't. Lifeless Dirten is always available for some sim racing and commentary also. Anyways, as debuted last time, we are gonna do the grid walk, and that requires me to get into walk mode. But because since we're starting from the back, this is what we're gonna do today. So in last place we have myself, winner of the long race at Suzuka. Right in front of me we have Traels, who finished in a very strong second position at that race as well. In front of him we have the Swedish survivor himself, T5 Black, so he will also have quite some overtaking to do. Second in the championship, series organizer vrsSTIG is right in front of him. He is in that is P5 on the grid. JC is starting fourth today in that lovely TikTok livery. In third it is Norwegian fighter White Flight, who has been a strong contender for a podium place in the overall standings all the way through. In second position it is Dad24DH, and on top of it all it is Flick on pole position for this short race. And with that said, I think we should get the race underway. It has been enough of a wait already. Let's just get all the detailings here right. And so we are ready to go here. Taking a look here at Flick, who is gonna be the man leading him down towards the first corner here. A first turn that, if any, demands a lot of respect from the drivers. It is a really big braking zone that they come down to here at the end of the straight. and it certainly does require, as I said before, some respect, and often also here on the first lap bunched tightly together, a little bit of early braking. And as we see that Flick-Flock is now following that 24 DH, who got a great run there in the start. JC is thinking about maybe making a move up the inside, but it seems all orders kept, except for Traels having a problem here in the beginning of the race. He drops down to 8th position, and as in turn I gain a position in that. vrsSTIG now putting on the pressure to Whiteflight, who had a little bit of a poor start, I think. JC is now up into P3. So strong going here from the Belgian driver. Oh, as we see Flick-Flock just getting a rear wheel there onto the grass. And as he rejoins, he makes contact with Traels, and I don't think there was any way to avoid that for any of those drivers, really. Except for Flick-Flock maybe just staying completely off the track until all cars has passed. Maybe that would have been the safest thing to do, but I do also understand the wish to get back and race, especially after blowing such a good track position. Anyways, now that puts myself into 6th position now, and everybody else also having moved up. As we see JC now in the lead of the race, and that 24 now also having made a mistake. He put it in the grass there coming out of the S's. Now also getting overtaken by both Traels and Flick-Flock. So JC now in the lead, Whiteflight in 2nd with STIG in 3rd position. Those two are really hammering it out here. And right behind them, or just a small way back I should say, it is myself and T5 Black having a battle there for 4th position. As we see T5 here taking the defensive line, coming down towards the tight chicane. 2 versions of that chicane, mind you, is gonna be in play today. So JC still in the lead. Whiteflight not really able to find his way through. So far their STIG goes a little wide, but keeps it nicely composed on the exit. And all the while it seems that T5 is just slowly closing up in from behind there as Whiteflight goes on the outside. He is gonna attempt to grab the lead from the Belgian JC, but he's not gonna be successful in that attempt, and now he's gonna have to deal with vrsSTIG putting on the pressure himself. Seems to just lets off a little bit. And all of this squabbling is not making for a fast tempo at the front of the race, and JC just going defensive once more there. As we see now, T5 is right on the bumper of STIG. Oh, a STIG goes onto the grass there. But has a little bit of contact with Whiteflight as he rejoins. And T5 is right up the inside there to take advantage of that. I'm through myself as well. What a piece of poor luck for those two. And that just goes to show how quickly things can turn around in one-make motor racing. And that is from being on the offensive, battling for the race lead, to now being on the back foot and out of the podium spots. And for once I could say good luck for T5, who is now really in contention. And he has myself for cover also, for company, and also Whiteflight and STIG still also in the mix here. So what is still pretty much a 5-way battle as we are making our way down the back straight for the 2nd time. And we have RLA Premium, which to all you non-knowers, but maybe the Nuke Shot knowers will recognize him as Nilseman, dominant driver in the AM class in this season, and strong potential for a pro driver for next season. But he's asking what type of tires are used, and a STIG also notes there it is the Sport Softs. Anyways, JC still in the lead as they come down towards the finish line here on the start-finish straight. Close company there from myself. White Flight trying to go defensive because he in turn has STIG right up his bumper. And all this is happening within the space of a couple of seconds. And just quickly, Nils, yeah, it's raced with this series is raced with an N200 BOP and sports medium and sports soft tires. So not a lot of aggressive racing here. T5 having to defend with, but does so strongly as I try to get the exit on him, but it doesn't seem like he's gonna go. And he is not going anywhere there. Strong defensive driving from the Swedish survivor. White Flight having taken advantage of whatever squabbling going on in front of JC as well now, with a nice advantage. And we have seen JC buckle under the pressure of being in such a good position. Will he make it last all the way through this time? It would be a fantastic result to end this series with for the Belgian. It is T5 Black now, still in second position and doing a very strong job of keeping that. And also White Flight and STIG is very much right up this battle now. They are right behind, so everybody having to think about what's in front, but also who's behind, and how to keep them from taking that all-important track position in such a short race. So still T5. Is he going to be able to defend here? He's really not having a lot of space to defend as he gives the squeeze towards the inside of the chicane. And then hugely outbrakes me. And now it's STIG on the outside of White Flight, but not really being able to get the run, it seems. Perhaps coming out of the corner here. Looks to be a good opportunity for STIG to grab that fourth position. He has the nose in front. He is in fact completely in front, and he has taken that fourth position away from White Flight on that stronger exit. So I try to go on the outside of T5, but think twice about that once more. And into the following complex of corners here. It is hard to overtake. As we are pretty much too wide there, but once more there is only one fast line there now, with STIG giving a little nudge and myself getting on the hazard lights there to tell him what I think about that kind of move. But that was surely just a kind of little a way to say thanks for last time out. I remember what you did last time we were in England. So T5 still doing a brilliant job of defending himself there. As once more I try to get the run on him down into the hairpin this time. Might be the move. Oh, as I get squirmy on the exit. And I'll have to go really defensive from STIG. And White Flight might make this into a 3 wide coming into the edges. Oh, this is not gonna go well. Oh, STIG seems to lose the back. And I think he does, taking out some cones in dramatic fashion on his way back to the track. And this is, mind you, on the final lap. So certainly something that helps T5 and in turn certainly something that helps JC. We haven't really spoken too much about him for this race because the battling has been quite intense behind. But he is in front and he is looking very composed, and he is just a couple of corners away from securing his first series race win here in the TSR M3 WTC. It is Belgian JC in the TikTok car. And as he comes around the last corner, keeps it steady, keeps it cool. He is gonna win this one. A great result for JC. That is a strong one from him. T5 takes second position in front of myself, and White Flight really close behind there. What a great battle and great defensive display throughout the sprint race from T5, who really did a good job there. Sticks in P5 after losing it on the last lap, and Traels leads it out before Flick and that 24 at the end of the somewhat reduced field today. We had a couple of non-starters sadly, but that is of course that is how it is. We cannot do much about it, but of course it's always more fun when we have the entire field at the starting line. But anyways, that was a hell of a race, and from my personal perspective, I just knew that I had the 2 black squares from the race official, so I knew that I had to show that okay, I'm also able to have a race without having any sorts of incident anywhere, and I think I did so as well. So but it was a fun one. It was a really great, these sprint rounds, sprint races here. I think they're always a lot of fun, and it really gets you going, so you're ready for what comes along. And speaking of what comes along, it is time for It is time for what on Halloween night was the green hell, in the misty conditions, in the evening time where darkness begins to fall. It is gonna be yeah. Personally, I was really looking forward to this one. A little spoiler alert that in spoiler alert. I don't know what I'm talking about, but my result in the first race was enough for me to secure the championship overall. So yay! And with that cheering done, that's all I'm gonna cheer for myself this time around. We're gonna do the grid walk, but we're gonna do it from the front this time out, just to get to look a little more at these lovely liveries. So after winning the sprint race, we have JC taking pole position for the race around the 24-hour layout, with the T5 in second position, myself in third. They're in the lovely Traels designed Blaupunkt livery. It is White Flight in fourth position with vrsSTIG in fifth. Traels, he is starting in P6 with Flick, and it is that 24 DH in 8th position. So with that done, no further ado. Yeah, let's get the race rolling. So once more, it is the rolling start here. Yeah, Stig, I don't know how all the brakes are getting so hot from standing still. Good job, brakes. But anyway, then you know they're hot for when you need them, and that's a good thing. Anyway, JC, he is going to be leading the pack down towards turn 1 here. Is he going to be able to defend? He certainly seems to have a good gap, and there's a very big gap from T5, excuse me, down to myself, with a big bunch of drivers right behind. And just quickly excuse me, because we are gonna need all the race info for this race, given the fuel saving that will be done by drivers here. It will be all important to make that fuel last 4 rounds here. And one of the longer 40-minute, or what used to be a 40-minute race, until it got changed to laps due to the stupidity of GT Sport. And getting a run on T5, and just might be able to get done what I never got done in the sprint race. And there it is, the overtake. And that puts T5 into third position now with White Flight and STIG very close behind. It is JC still leading as we're coming around the backside of the GP circuit. Oh, as I think STIG has a little bit of argy-bargying there with White Flight, who in turns gives a little in return, saying, I'm not gonna have any of this. This is proper British touring car racing. As long as we don't have anyone getting into some fisticuffs after the racing, I'd say everything is sweet and good. The drivers through this season has been fantastically respectful whilst racing very hard at the same time, something that is not easy to do, and it has been making for something that's great to watch here as STIG goes up the inside of T5, coming onto the Nordschleife. That is a really good move from vrsSTIG, and he is now side by side with T5 on the outside through Atzenbach. And he makes that one STIG as T5 goes wide there, and he loses it big time. Oh, and White Flight gets caught up in that. And good luck for Traels, who's up into P6, Flickflock into P5. Dad also taking advantage of that. The two Scandinavians at the back. Well, it was T5 losing it, and it was White Flight with nowhere to go there. JC still in the lead. Looking strong already here as they come over the bump and into the very quick right-handers. And then vrsSTIG now in third position, also having quite some gap behind him now. So he has that all-important track space. Traels is up into P5 now, having gotten the best of Flickflock. Oh, as they come over the Schwedenkreuz there and down towards the following right-hander there. Traels just gets a little bit late on the brakes. Manages to almost save it there, but it's gonna open the door for White Flight. vrsSTIG in ghost mode. I did note that Halloween livery. We're gonna have a look. Ooh. Anyway, returning to the racing now as White Flight got hold of P5. Traels is close behind. T5 struggling to make up ground now. At 24 also finding himself on a bit of an island. Same goes for STIG, and in the lead it is still JC, followed very closely by myself, but it's just really hard to find any kind of way through here on the Nordschleife. And JC doing a very good job of occupying the optimal line there, and just really not that many places where you want to go too wide on this track. Mind you, we're also trying to keep vrsSTIG behind us at this moment, even though the British veteran, such an experienced driver, he is absolutely flying here on the one circuit that really separates the men from the boys. And he's almost to the tail of JC and myself. Myself in particular, I made a little mistake there, and that gave JC some air out in front. Now White Flight is in the wall, so I guess this is a big rest in peace this time out for White Flight. Didn't sound like he was looking forward to the race too much. Traels was there to take advantage, and he is now chasing That 24 for 4th position. Still JC with a little bit of a gap. And Stiggy Boy getting ever closer. So shame we didn't see what actually happened to White Flight there. He looked to be absolutely destroyed. Just being still standing with his nose in the wall. And now he has T5 for a bit of company behind him. And Traels has caught up with that 24. That did not take a long time. And as you see, he is just looking for a way past that BMW in front of him. Caused him to go a little squirmy there and seemed to lose a lot of time actually coming through the kink there, the left kink. As we see him keeping the car in 3rd there, trying to save some fuel. That's intelligent driving. And then through the carousel. Also seems to do well. Still JC in the lead. Still myself in 2nd. Close, but not close enough to make a move. And in a race that requires this much fuel saving, well, I haven't spent any less fuel than JC. So not really too much success on that part for myself. vrsSTIG being excellent on his fuel as well. And he has now virtually caught up. He has caught up to JC and myself, and it is a 3-way battle for the lead standings now. As Traels is also caught up to that 24. So there is also a battle going on here for 4th position at the moment. Oh, as that just spins it. Puts it into the wall right before YouTube corner. But probably still within the camera angles, as Traels is very close to getting himself onto one of those top 10 Nordschleife moment videos on YouTube. JC still in the lead. Still just nursing that advantage. Oh, as he gets quite sideways through there. And now vrsSTIG coming very, very, very close to myself. Also, let's take a look from the car off the grid. Coming down towards the mini carousel. And then through the final double right-hander onto the straight here, we see Stig just being so close. Completely within the slipstream there. And that position might just be his for the taking now. As we are just side by side. Just look to let off a little bit to let him through and take advantage of that slipstream in order to save that extra fuel coming down here. And also having seen at what pace Stig rejoined us from being 5-6 seconds to the rears, it just seemed a little pointless trying to be in the way of somebody who was that much quicker. Now as we see Stig now putting the pressure onto JC, he is very close. And very close might even be an understatement of the distance between those two cars at the moment. And as I say that, vrsSTIG goes to the outside. He is looking to get it done and over with quickly. JC there just as they both go a little wide sideline. A little bit of squabbling there. And as they still side by side, it seems to be STIG getting the best run out of that corner. Down towards the slow SS here as I take second with a brave move in front of JC. And after such a brilliant lap 1 defense from JC, it is all down to P3 now as vrsSTIG is leading the race. Oh, and I was just about to compliment him for being a steady driver, making very few mistakes, and he seems to go very deep into the hairpin, maybe opening up the opportunity for myself here. We are once more a couple of cars wide into the Schumi S's. But I in turn get a bad run in through there, and that it makes it easy business for STIG, just closing off in front. Just go a little deep there and just miss the apex by about half a yard. And you could see what difference that made in exit speed in the favor of vrsSTIG there. Right behind this, or right behind a little bit away behind this three-way battle, it is Traels in front of that 24 with White Flight and T5 now being separated by some distance. They were close last time we looked. We are a little bit down the order for this race at this moment as the leading trio is onto the Nordschleife for the second time. And what I think we will see this time around is vrsSTIG pulling out that advantage. I mean, he is a driver who has described the Nordschleife as being his second home. And from my experience, it takes quite some beating that. As you see the gap already starting to develop here, coming across the bump. And across the second one as well, into the two right-handers. Almost flat out there, just a slight lift. And exit speed is all important as we come down towards the Schwedenkreuz, as it's called, for the second time. Perhaps the most scary place on the track in real life, or so I would imagine, because I have never driven it. But then again, I don't even have a driver's license, so hey. Anyways, it is STIG leading. It is myself in second, with JC still hanging on there in third position, having driven a very, very, very fine sprint race. And right now he is doing another fine display here. Traels in P4. A bit away behind, but not too far anyways. And this is the Nordschleife. Anything can happen. And he is by no means out of contention for a podium spot yet. As we see White Flight looking to catch up to that 24. And he looks to be getting closer and closer. And there is a yellow flag in front. And that is Traels. That is Traels who has gone around. Oh my, Traels has gone around. And he is down to P6 as a consequence of that. And he is, with the light damage on for the lobby today, also gonna suffer for some seconds with that, losing a bit of additional time. So poor luck for Traels there. F's in chat, rest in peace, my good friend. Traels also one of the drivers who really likes this track, or normally likes this track, but he was also saying that didn't really have the time to get too much practice in, and perhaps this was the effects of that taking place. Anyways, vrsSTIG still nursing that 1.5, 2 second advantage in front of myself. Oh, as I go wide there and just have a slight bit of contact with the wall, not enough to cause any damage to my car, but certainly losing me some time there. And now I have the company of JC very closely behind me, and I probably have to take a defensive line or two, and that is gonna open up the door for STIG to just run away once more. Once more getting squirmy on the exit there. A little wide there. And STIG noting that he wanted to push, but he had to fuel save. Well, I think we were all in that boat. At least I can speak for myself and say I was in exactly that boat. I wanted to push. I wanted to go fast, but I also had to fuel save, and I wanted to be certain that I didn't have to fuel save too much on the last lap, most notably because I thought, well, if JC or yourself for that matter is still with me, or if we're still battling around that time, it would be nice to be able to just go full hammer, and it might actually, you know, make a big difference there. But anyways, at the moment, STIG, you are just racing away in the lead, and that in turn is gonna make it difficult for myself and JC to close up. That gap is now grown a little bit more, and White Flight is now up to P4. So there was some action we missed in the best ways, traditional ways of this channel, the half the race gone ways. We have to miss something. We didn't catch this overtake. That now being slightly distanced also, so the battle for that position, for now at least, is looking to be over. Traels is appearing from the mist, so it is still not over for him, of course. T5 there in 7th position, not the best of days for him. Or actually, the sprint race went very well. He did a super fine display there, but hasn't been able to carry the luck and whatever else is needed here over this race, certainly. So, STIG just goes absolutely on the limit there. Oh, as JC gets very squirmy on that exit indeed. That is gonna lose him a little bit of time. And he might be gaining it on that exit as I go a little wide again. The pressure of the Nordschleife seems to just slowly be getting to everybody but STIG, basically, who's just hammering along. So on board with JC. As we come up towards the mini carousel here, it is, yeah, it is a very difficult corner on the exit there. Both of us getting a little bit sideways, and in turn, nothing really sensational happening there. A couple of good saves being made. White Flight in 4th position, Dad 24 in 5th. Now T6 having gotten in front of Traels, who's certainly not having the best race of his life. And it is a track that can really build up some frustration with drivers once it gets a hold of you. The Nordschleife, once it gets the best of you, it is so hard to return T6. This is the new T5. It is T6 white. Combining white flight with T5. I don't know. I'll stop with the bad jokes. Anyways. So vrsSTIG, he is about to cross the line, coming out. Half the race gone for his sake, for my own sake, and well, I was about to say for the sake of JC also. JC having had, well, and this is an incident I'm a little bit sad to have missed, because JC had the weirdest accident I've seen in a very long time, just all of a sudden going off on the long back straight there somehow. And you'll have to get an explanation from him on how that happened, because I have absolutely no idea how he yeah, I have no clue how he was able to. It was probably he was, I think he was talking about that he had to get his shirt off while driving, and then maybe something caught the, yeah, I don't know. Oh, and our daddy is in the pits. And you have to wonder why. Perhaps it is a matter of fuel consumption. He gets some fresh tires here. And he did not. Yes, he did get some extra fuel. So that is a 10-second penalty incoming for Daddy-O. Who is in turn still in front of Flick-Flock by quite a margin. And let's see if, well, it will require him now to be able to catch up to Traels, and not only overtake Traels, but to drop him by 10 seconds. I think it will be a difficult job. T5 is now in P5. So everything is falling back to its normal ways here at the TSR M3 WTC. I think we have said, I think I at least have said this line a number of times, at least this season. JC now in 4th position, so he must have had some kind of problem. He's right behind White Flight, who came back from a big accident on the first lap to now be back in podium contention. So that is really strong work from White Flight, the Norwegian there. Just hopping on board with myself for a minute as I'm trying to chase down vrsSTIG here. Oh, as I miss a gear shift, and that is gonna cost me some vital time here on this long straight bit. And right there you see one of the big disadvantages of using the stick shift. I know it has been a big advantage for me all the season, but as when it works out, it's fast, but when you miss gears, it's not very fast. So there is pros and cons to everything in life. And it is still the vrsSTIG in front, and he is still putting down a pace that is hard enough in itself just to match. And he is doing so while saving quite the bit of fuel, but still a battle is going on for the lead, so he hasn't been able to just completely run off with it yet, as I have a moment there and once more lose some time. But yeah, regarding the gearbox, I'd have to agree with you, Stig, that once you get a hang of it, you don't miss that many shifts. then it's certainly more of an advantage than a disadvantage, concerning that you can just shift gears so much faster. And it well, on most tracks I say the gain is probably, to be honest, about between half a second to a second, and that is a huge gain. But of course you'll miss, I mean, you'll be bleeding time every time you miss a shift, but if that doesn't happen through a race, well, then the rest is really self-explanatory anyways. Enough talking about the different types of transmission. You could also just, all of you who's complaining, just buy a stick. I'm just kidding. Anyways, it is vrsSTIG leading, and he is just flying at the moment through the mist of the green hell. And in third position, it's a battle going on right now because JC has caught up back to white flight, and now he is piling on the pressure. Oh, as white flight goes, well, wide, and, and turns open the door for JC to go around the outside. And that is a bold move, and he makes it stick, climbing back up onto the podium. Strong move there from JC, strong opportunistic move, taking advantage quickly of the mistake. So white flight, they're getting back at JC, who in turn also just made a short and small mistake himself, going on and in front. I am also just bleeding a bit of time here and there to stick at this moment, as he is just slowly running away with it. And white flight, he is quite a bit of distance back at this moment, also in P3. JC in fourth. It is Traels in fifth position, but he also has quite some ground to make up. He still has T5 per company though, but he has managed to get in front of T5 and make T5 T6. So Traels still also on something of an island there, as he goes a bit deep into the hairpin coming up to the carousel. And it's T5, but he is too far back to be able to take advantage of that situation there. JC having lost some time now, a little bit of time at least, to white flight. I think it's time for a Nürburgring masterclass as we climb on board with vrsSTIG for definitely one of the trickier parts of the track, this one. And the car just looks really, really composed. It looks calm. Even coming in aggressively into a corner like that at full attack, at maximum attack there. Still knows exactly where the limit is. Also going, looks like he was more or less flying coming out of the mini carousel there. Great stuff to see. So vrsSTIG pushing it his advantage ever so slightly. And at this moment it is becoming more and more just a war of attrition. Just to keep your pace and not to make any mistakes. Track order has pretty much been settled, even though there are still some opportunities for squabbling here. JC is not too far behind. White flight, he is within a couple of seconds. It will not take much of a mistake from the Norwegian for the Belgian in turn to be able to catch up. Traels, well, he looks to be extending the gap down to T5. Ooh, goes wide in the carousel there. Just about manages to keep the car within the white lines. And Mr. Daddio also looking to come up and complete his third lap. The drivers are nearing the final lap of the race. Actually, for the leader vrsSTIG, it is the final lap of the race here as he makes his way through the very, very tight opening corners on the 24-hour layout here. As I miss another gear. So that was just growing super great for me there. I'm glad I had such a huge gap at this moment down to third position, because had I been under any kind of pressure here, I would surely just have cracked and buckled there. Wide flight onto his last lap now. And he still nurses that couple of second gap to JC, but JC has closed up a little bit, and JC has put on a flying first sector here. Faster than anyone else has put in so far in the race. And even though it probably, or I don't know about that, it could make for a fastest lap at the end of this lap for him, but it is it is, if anywhere, the circuit where one purple sector doesn't necessarily make an entire purple lap. JC just trying to get closer to white flight. White flight there in front. Oh, as JC goes deep, he goes wide, but he manages to keep it on track, but it's not gonna be faster. Oh, as white flight also has a moment there. Coming on to the back straight of the GP layout. That certainly was a big moment for him. And now he just has to keep it composed for one more lap around the green hell. Because vrsSTIG, he is pushing his advantage even further now, and he has quite a gap down to myself in second position. And then it is white flight and JC just trying to catch up and make up the time that he lost in his small incident before, as he went a little deep into one of the slower left-handers on the GP circuit. There as he goes sideways and keeps it nicely under control there. So scores higher on the style points than on speed points in that particular situation. JC, oh, as he gets squirmy on the exit once more. And you can see he is really pushing at this moment. And the question is whether he in turn will actually be losing time to white flight because of maybe even pushing a bit too hard. He is in turn also 6 seconds in front of his own personal best lap time so far. So a good tempo being put in here. As White Flight just extends. He extends a little bit more there, and JC once more just seemed to be going. In turn, ends up looking at least like taking a big chunk out of the deficit. But White Flight in turn might have gotten the superior exit there. And it is just so difficult to master the art of going to the limit up on this track without having an accident, because going to the limit here, well, that usually also implies crossing it at some point, because you just don't get into that sort of rhythm that you get on a normal racing track, which is, even if it's a long one, it's just a third of the length. I mean, Spa, one of the longest Grand Prix tracks in the world, is just a third of the length, and it's even less than a third of the length of the entire 24 layout here. So that kind of rhythm is just something that you will never get unless you are an absolute expert of the track, unless you are an absolute veteran. Of course, it is able to find some sort of rhythm. And I guess for the drivers who are doing the long endurance races here, the 24-hour races, the 12-hour races, even the 6-hour races, they of course will also find some kind of rhythm. But because the track is so long, and because in real life with changing track conditions and such, it is widely considered to be the most demanding racetrack in the world. And you do understand why. As you see here, JC, he is looking to close the gap up to White Flight. He is getting closer, and he is driving maximum attack. It is great to see JC usually being a very steady, very consistent, and also not to say he's a cautious driver out and out. He's had some really great battles with well, basically everyone, I guess, this year, and he has been very consistently in the better end of the placings. But this is the first time I think I remember seeing him really looking like he is on the limit with the car, really trying to attack the circuit as he's trying to catch up to White Flight here. And he is certainly getting closer, the Belgian here. And out in front, vrsSTIG still just extending his lead. And I'm on a big island there at this moment in the middle of it all. The only Geordie not from Newcastle. If I were a bit more proficient in that Geordie accent, I would have a couple of jokes I've heard on British TV, but I'm not gonna venture into that because it's just gonna be too much of a toe-crumbing, cringy moment, I think. Anyways, JC is in 4th position, and he is really trying to put down the hammer, and White Flight is really being pressured into giving it his absolute everything here just to keep that track position. It is nice that we are getting treated with such a battle for the last podium position here. One that looks to go all the way to the end there. JC getting sideways on the exit. This is great stuff. White Flight setting a blistering pace. JC following up on that blistering pace. I think JC is going even faster. Look at the sliding car of the Belgian there. And White Flight just does all he can to put in some distance, and all he is seeing is that green dot getting bigger and bigger behind him, when all he wants to see is for it to disappear into the distance. now riding along with JC here. We're gonna be concentrating on this battle. For now it is really intense. Oh, as we see, it is now T5 who has taken... T5 has taken... he has taken 5th position back from Traels. Behind these two, so also some action going on behind them. And there is really some action going on because that is also very much a heated battle looking to go right to the end here. So White Flight still nursing a little gap there, but T5 now going a little bit wide as Traels goes to the inside. Is he gonna take back 5th position? He certainly is. Oh, was T5! And we did catch that one. For once we caught it, and T5 is off. That might be the decider in the battle for 5th position there. Cutting back now to look at White Flight and JC, who is now in turn even closer. JC might just be getting into the slipstream come the back straight. And this certainly is the point where it gets really interesting, because this is the final lap. This is the end of affairs, but that gap just looks to be a little bit too long for JC to really have a shot. I don't really know if he's going to be able to make that. Of course, there is still the braking zone into the last chicane. But I think it's going to play out for White Flight as vrsSTIG wins the race in absolute dominant fashion. He takes home this one in superior style. And what a monster of a race there. A flash the hazard lights for the series champion myself. Thrilled for this moment I am, or I was yesterday. And it is White Flight coming home for P3. I think he's just gonna fend off JC all the way to the line to grab that podium position. And he in turn is gonna take the podium position also in the final overall standings. He is gonna finish on that 3rd step. So the 3 podium finishers overall are also the 3 podium finishers for this race, just with myself and Stig turned the other way around. JC takes 4th position as Traels is heading home for a top 5 finish, even with all the bad luck that's followed him. And it has really been a war of attrition. So there it is, Traels for P5 and T6 right behind him. It is Daddy-O in 7th position. He is coming down the straight now and into the very difficult braking zone, where you just feel the weight of the car shift on the braking, and the brake balance of the car is all important. Just about manages to keep it on the tarmac there and to finish the race. And here now, Flick Flock, he still has a bit of driving left to do. So big congratulations to vrsSTIG on a superb victory here today at what must be the most prestigious single round to put your name on as a winner here at the Green Hill. And what a performance it was. And there, sorry, as Flickflock, he just doesn't get to finish the race. That is, I guess, a bit of a shame. I would have liked to just been able to follow him all the way to the line, but it wasn't to be. So that concludes the TSR M3 World Tour Championship here on Half the Race Gone. Personally, I don't think I would really have expected when we started off to end off this series winning, just because I know that in most race cars and on the previous occasions with the fast drivers we have in this series, otherwise I know that usually I'm not, to be honest, usually I don't really think I'm able to compete with the likes of STIG and Welsh and such, who are really fast gentlemen, especially I guess in race cars. So last time we did the Super GT series, I was at least some way off the pace in the GT 500 car. So of course having the manual gear change helped a bit, but still I had such a great series. I think most of the races just went very, very well for me. I had the right combination of good level of concentration and very good amount of luck that played out in my way in many situations, and that ended up with me being the championship winner. So of course I'm super thrilled for that. And with that said, it has been such great racing. This season has been so much fun to do, I think. Yeah, it's been fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to the next road car championship organized by TSR. More so, I am really looking forward to the multi-class Super GT championship that is kicking off, well, actually next week already. And we of course are gonna be bringing it to you just in the same fashion as we have been bringing this series to you here on Half the Race Gone. And hey to Tron, hello, and sad that you're late, sad you missed it. And Nils says that I being the NAS champion from last season shows my speed. Well, to some degree it does, but last season in the LMPs was also a bit skewed in the way that a lot of the composition drivers either joined the season halfway through or changed cars, which in turn also made for a big advantage, especially during the time when they had inferior cars, some of the competitors and so on. So, while of course it still demanded me to race some sun, but anyways, yeah, you know what I mean, Nils. But thanks anyways, guys, and thank you for joining in and along once more today. It has been great having you along. Thank you for joining in chat. It has been a lot of fun, and the series, as I said before, has been a lot of fun doing. As I also said, we will be back already, of course, come the weekend with the Nuke Shot Endurance Series, and then with the premiere of the second season of the Multi-GT Championship, as we would probably be calling it henceforth here. So with that said, do find us on Twitter at twitter.com/halfrace, where you can stay updated on our scheduling and stuff. It's about to change with the Super GT series being a new one to air, and I believe we are gonna be airing the Super GT series on Wednesdays, but get connected on Twitter, and you'll be sure to stay updated on all scheduling issues and such. And do, of course, hit us up with any kind of feedback. If you have feedback, if you have any kind of ideas that you'd like us see us doing, if you have any kind of feedback, be it negative or positive, as long as it is constructive, we would love to hear it. So with that also said, it has been a great pleasure doing the TSR M3 World Tour Championship. My name is DirtenDK. You have been watching half the race gone. So for the final time for this series, good night, bye bye, and until next time, have fun, and yeah, bye bye.